Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm your host, Josh Guesman, coming to you on a Thursday, March 3rd. The LA Galaxy getting ready. Actually already traveled to Charlotte. Getting ready to take on Charlotte FC for the first time ever. The first ever Charlotte home game. 73,500 tickets around there sold. There's going to be some walk-ups. Figure 75,000. That's where we're going to go with. That's what we're getting you ready for. A lot of stuff to talk about. Galaxy put out a survey today that should help you or help them decide what the 2024 kit is going to look like. Maybe. We're going to go through that. We're going to have you help us answer their survey. We're going to do that. The Athletic put out an anonymous survey to chief soccer officers. We'll explain what that is. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Get you ready for Charlotte, LA Galaxy news, injury news, all those fun things, getting you through all of that leading up to the game against Charlotte on Saturday. All right, to help me do it, he's back 2 weeks in a row. It's a new record. It's Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
We did it. We're back. Happy to be back 2 weeks in a row with uniform news. Shade being thrown by chief soccer officers. I couldn't miss this one. I had to be here, and then we're also going to be looking for the CLT. So I figured this would be a good show for me to join as well.
Maybe we'll find it. Don't know. Maybe by the end of the show.
I heard 75K are going to find it. So sounds good.
That sounds good. That sounds like a lot of people. It's going to be this is going to be a fun time. This game is super intriguing to me, Eric. Super intriguing. We've been texting back and forth. I'm like, I don't know how you go into this and account for 75K. And I talked to Chicha, I talked to Greg. We heard them talk about managing energy and all these other things that you have to do. But when you have 75,000 people and they're against you, I mean, for the most part, listen, there's going to be Galaxy fans there. I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of Galaxy fans there. I don't think they're going to be the majority of the people in the stadium, which, sort of, that's fine. No judgment here. It's on turf. There's so many things that go into this where I sit there and go like, if you had to bet this game, if you had to, you don't. You walk away and you run into another room somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's the correct answer. You're right. We saw it last week. NYCFC is the MLS Cup champions. If you look, they were the favored team. That they technically on paper should have beat the LA Galaxy, but there was that midweek match, and then there's something called home opener, magic, and there's something about that special energy that you get in playing in front of your fans for the first time. I believe in that. I think that's a real thing. So I know people say, well, they're professional players, they block it out, the crowd doesn't matter. But I think it could push a team in a different direction. So again, this is going to be 75,000 people. The first time they're ever playing the game. We were talking, off the air, looking at their rosters. Like, is this any good? I recognize some of the names on here. And so on paper, the Galaxy should go in. If this were the fifth game of the season and you're taking, a struggling Charlotte, you're like, okay, the Galaxy are going to go in. This is an easy 3 points. But 75K, first time playing in front of their home fans, you're right. You throw it all out the window because, there's something about these teams and their opening matches, the first time ever playing. Sometimes that excitement, that could be something that pushes the home team over the edge and then can kind of rattle, the visiting team. Although I did like, Chicharito's answers saying, it's all just energy, man. You just take it in, you absorb it, and you push it back out. I love this Zen Chicha. I liked that. I loved his response on that.
Can I be honest with everybody? It is exhausting asking him questions anymore. Because he gives you crap because he calls you out, and it's not even like calling out. It's like, Javi, I can't ask you questions anymore without you taking it whichever direction you want anyway. So I'm just going to ask you something that is something in the general area of where we're trying to get, and maybe you're going to give me an answer that might approximate the question that I asked, or maybe you won't. Maybe you're just going to talk about energy and, in a circle, round and round, up and down, feel the flow,
Yeah, well, what he's doing is actually a great interview technique. So they say when you're preparing for an interview, you don't actually answer the questions. You already go in with your narrative and your story, and you just want to give them someone who they're like, you know what, I want to hang out with that guy. And that's exactly what Javier does. Maybe he doesn't answer the question, but at the end of it, you're going, you know what? I like that guy. And so
I do.
It's just one of those things.
It's always enjoyable. I'm always sitting there laughing. I'm always smiling. Like it's never, it's never a bad situation to be in. But yeah, it's just, it's tough. I especially when you sit there and the obvious questions are going to be answered. The people who ask, by the way, I'll give you a hint. Anybody who ever gets the first question has the easiest job in the world. You get to ask whatever you want. Nobody else has asked it. You if you have the first question,
cross it off the board.
You don't have to be like, oh, well, let me go down with the seventh question that I had. If you're not going to get the first question, and there were 73 people on the call on Wednesday, which is, I think it's a new record for at least this season. I don't remember there being 73 people on there. A lot of it was because Javi was talking, and anytime that he's talking, there's a large Spanish press presence. And so you get that, but at the same time, there's also some hype with the Charlotte game and the 75K, and so there was even added on top of that, and so it was a big deal. So just trying to ask that second question or the third question, or be the fifth guy to ask a question and try to find something new that Javi hasn't already touched on or actually wants to talk about. So yeah, good times.
Or good luck getting to a fifth question, because by the time 2 or 3, he's already spent 35 minutes talking. So then you're wrapped up.
He's fun though. Like I really enjoy listening to him. And you know what? It's always great when Sophie's on, because she'll ask a question, and in my mind, and I've told her this before, in my mind I'm like, I don't think that's gonna be a very good question. And then Javi lights up. Like they have a connection that is just you can't measure and you can't understand. So
she has a way with her questions too. Sophie's in that same category as Javier. It doesn't matter what she says. You're like, you know what? I like this person. I want to hang with them. So she gives off that same energy. So it makes sense that they have that connection.
Yeah, it's a good one. Aaron, by the way, gave us a $5 super chat. He says, "Call me Aarony." This is, of course, in response to him after he called me Joshy on Twitter, and I threatened his life. It was, and again, it was the Mark Delgado thing.
Gotcha.
Yes, a grown man who is 26 years old. His name is Mark. All right. He even said, somebody actually sent me the screenshot today, by the way, too. He actually said, I prefer to be called Mark. All right. Yeah. So we need to stop this Marky stuff. Stop infantizing him. All right. He is a grown man. Yes.
And unless you knew him as Marky, because I actually have this is a personal situation to my life. I have a brother named Robert, and I grew up my entire life calling him Bobby. Mm-hmm. So here is this guy who's older than me, and so if I'm giving away my age, someone who's, in his 40s, has business partners, has accomplishments, has coworkers over to the house. Hey, Robert, how's it going? And here I come. Hey, Bobby, what's going on? And so like Bobby, who's Bobby? And so that's just, I can call him Bobby because that's what I've called him my whole life. But if you don't know him before then he's Robert. So same thing with Marky Delgado. If you were raised with him, you knew him back in the Chivas USA days, or you knew him in his youth as a youth, then you can call him Marky. If not, he's Mark.
I think Greg calls him Marky. But he's known him for a long time.
He's known him since.
He's allowed to do it. So anyway, yeah, that's where we're going. Just some quick stuff. Let's touch on some things before we dive into this survey, because survey is super interesting, and we've all sort of seen the momentum of this survey starting to come. So we'll talk about that in a second. But just a heads up again, the 2 tickets starting at $24. All right, you get 2 tickets to now they're switching it up. They're going the LA Galaxy and Orlando game, which is coming up on March 19th, and then you will also get a ticket to either the Nashville game on April 23rd or the FC Dallas game on May 14th. We have talked about this. If you're a season ticket holder, this hurts because you're seeing tickets go out the door for $12. However, short-term pain here. You want butts in the seats. How much fun was it to go to the stadium, see the stadium packed, hear that stadium whenever Chicha scored? it was fun to be there. That's what you want to happen. If the Galaxy have to pull back some of those prices for a little bit because they have absolutely sucked for 5 years, then they need to do that in order to regain some of that trust in it. And the Galaxy winning need to do that as well.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, again, you hate to see it if you're a season ticket member. You pay, upwards of, between, depending on where you're sitting, could be anywhere from $35 a ticket up to, $75 to $100 a ticket. And now you're seeing them go out the door. But at the end of the day, as a fan, you want to see that place full. So I remember watching games, towards the pre-COVID where you'd see, okay, giveaway tickets, have some type of raffles, do some type of situation, because, going and seeing empty seats, it's just not, it's not a good look. So especially, post-pandemic where you're kind of fighting for people's attention, where people are getting back out there. I don't have a problem with them dropping it, but it also signals I think you mentioned it on a previous show, maybe I wasn't on here, where if you're looking at your season ticket member as your value for your ticket, then maybe you're not getting your value. And maybe next season you say, you know what, I'm not going to buy season tickets. I'm going to buy individual tickets and I'm going to be better off in my pocketbook. But if you look at your season ticket membership as like an investment in the club, I'm investing in the club, I'm going to get, these special events or certain things that happen.
I'm part of something, right? I'm part of something.
I'm part of the club. Yeah. You have like an ownership stake. So you can look at it from that perspective. And at the end of the day, $15, $20, $10 per game, it's $17, one less Modelo in the stadium that you don't save. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe they give season ticket members one free canned michelada Modelo, and then we call it even. And that's how you solve this issue.
Can I tell you something that I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think this is happening. You talked about beer and you talked about prices, and then it got me thinking about pupusas and the $8.50 for a pupusa. Again, it's for charity. I don't care, so that's fine. I'm hearing that it looks like that's heading towards being available every game this season. We're very close to that happening. Nice. So keep your fingers crossed. The people over at AFJA are doing an amazing thing, showing like that they're building locker rooms and some like snack bars and stuff like this at this field in El Salvador. This is what all this money is going towards.
Keep it going.
Oh man, it's so awesome. It's so much fun. But anyway, that's that. So that looks like that's happening as well. And then I think the Vegan Hooligan, I think is the name of it. They had their food truck there as well. So I think they're going to be here for the next game against Orlando as well. So if you're looking for some food options, they reached out, said hi to us. Kevin is a vegan, and so he was sort of like, he's like, oh, that might work for me. And I'm like, yeah, nice. You think, smart guy? Go over there.
You think Vegan Hooligans will check that box for you? So that's very cool that they reached out. I know every season they have different food trucks that they invite to kind of be part of the concourse. So that is pretty cool that they have that option. I know there's a lot of, people part of the fan base who that appeals to them. So it's nice that they're kind of reaching and checking those boxes and having those options. Cause in stadium, if you are, vegan, there's probably not a lot of, snack bar fare that's going to check those boxes. So it is cool that they're offering those options for the fans.
Yeah, it feels like you're starting to get maybe just a little bit more stuff, right? Like it's just starting to maybe play out just a little bit in terms of, hey, oh look, you're starting to get some options, you're starting to see some different things. And that I think that's a good thing. It was really fun. I have you in like
I'm having a lot of fun with this one. I was like, okay, there's definitely a button that got pushed somewhere. So this is why you got to watch live because I just totally threw Josh off by peeking in the background. You had the hammer and multiverse hammer was all over it there.
It was one of those. Well, whenever you show up only 3 minutes before the show starts, I forget to put some stuff in.
That's
so
on me. You're right.
Yeah, there we go. Let's not blame the guy pushing the buttons. Let's blame the guy who didn't give me a chance to set up. But anyway, we're back and we're doing good. No, I think that there's some cool options coming, and so I'm pretty stoked about that. Let's get to the survey. The LA Galaxy today put out a press release and then sent out emails. And basically the press release was, hey, we're going to give the fans a chance to have a say into what this 2024 kit is going to look like. Now, let's just start with that, because I think this may have been glossed over a little bit. This is for the 2024 kit. We've talked many times, Eric, about it being basically anywhere between a 24 and 18-month design process. So this makes sense. It's 2022, 24 months from now, it'll be 2024, and there will be a new home kit that's coming out, not this City of Dreams kit. It will be something different. I'm sure they'll have another name for it, and I will complain about it once again whenever that comes out. So you're going to have that in that position, and so that's exciting, and it's fun that you have an input into this. But if I'm reading this correctly, and if I'm predicting correctly, and I think I think maybe we can be more broad with this, but if we're taking this at the narrow sort of description that we're seeing, this is for a 2024 home kit. All right, this isn't for a change kit. This is for a 2024 home kit, because 2024 is a home kit, not a change or a second kit, right? Yeah. So this isn't a community kit replacement. This is a replacement for the white kit that just came out right now, and that's what they're asking for input into. And there's some very interesting questions that come about. Now, I tend to think that if we wanted to think very positive of this, Eric, we could say that this kit that they're looking at in 2024, the information that they're gathering from these surveys can be used on the 2024 kit, the 2025, 2026, right? You could do it give me an idea of what you like, and I'm going to use this for the next 10 years to give you the next 5 kits, or next 10 kits.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess, because we had some clues that, we knew the sash was going to be going away, and that was around the same time that the community kit was being dropped. So that makes me think that when the community kit was being designed and there was, input from fans, that the City of Dreams kit was probably being designed with a lot of the same elements and input from the fan base. So that's exactly how I'm reading it. Even though it's for the 2024 home kit, the questions on the survey had a light color for a home kit and then a dark color for a change kit. Right. So they were asking questions about both. So that lets you know, okay, this is the information that they're intaking is probably not just going to be for 2024, but probably for 2024 and 2025 as well for the change kit. So that's how I read it. But we have this conversation all the time. It's, who do they talk to? Who these kits come out. It's like, did they talk to anybody? Did they show anybody? Did anyone have anything to say about it? And so that is kind of the part that makes you think, okay, when am I going to be able to have my say as a Galaxy fan or as a season ticket member or someone who listens to podcasts and follows on Twitter and follows on Instagram? Like, I'm into it. Where's my say? And so just the fact that they threw it out there and that you now are able to put that input, I think that's all you can ask for from a club, is to put it out there so you can, have a say in it. And you're right. Some of the options that were on there, I was raised an eyebrow. I was like, hey, I like some of these ideas. And it also makes you think, wow, is this really a consideration? Some of the things that they're throwing out there as well.
Let's go through it, because I actually went and screenshotted most of these. And,
and I know Tony in the chat, I don't super chat, you got a new logo, some new decor in the background.
Yes, over my shoulder there, a nice little wood logo. Finally came in, everything looks great, and I think it's perfect addition. My wife said, wow, that looks really good, and if you don't take it off when you leave this office, I will kill you. So that's basically how it goes. So, Tony, thank you for the $10 or maybe the $20 now that maybe you hit it twice. Yeah, I hope it's just one. But anyway, okay, so what I have now is I have a browser open. All right. And I have screenshotted all of these things. So we, Eric, you and I and our chat room are going to fill out this survey. All right. So we're going to try to do this the best we can. So
the collective. This is the Corner of the Galaxy collective survey vote. This is our voice being heard here.
All right. So I'm going to read everything off and then we will come up with the answers, and then I will type them in over on this other side, and then we will submit our stuff when we're done. They ask you some age questions and some things like that. Like, are you season ticket member? How old are you? Blah, 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 the whole deal. Are you a member of a supporters group? Those types of things. So I will answer those and skip through those. That's not important. The first important question that you must answer, which is an important question, I think. When I wear an LA Galaxy kit, I feel, Eric, what do you feel like whenever you wear an LA Galaxy kit?
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like part of the Galaxy family, part of the community. I think if I were answering that in earnest, I'd probably say that it makes me feel part of the club or part of the community. That's what I would say.
Okay, so I think my best answer I have is when I wear an LA Galaxy kit, I feel like an Herbalife salesman. Is that?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Well, I think someone backed you up on the chat. Yeah,
okay, good.
Like an Herbalife peon is what they threw on there. So they ashamed of Herbalife is another one threw out there. So fair. That is fair.
Like, yeah. By the way, another one in the group says, like a dude who has a winning tradition. All right.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. Very good. Yeah. People are asking if I can sponsor the LA Galaxy kit. I don't think I have that kind of coin. You guys are going to have to hit those super chats a lot more. All right. But at that point, YouTube was going to hire me before the LA Galaxy let me sponsor anything. So anyway, okay. So that's one. We'll put Herbalife salesman or something with Herbalife in there. So I'll put
something
that one
to share your displeasure. That's actually, we're making light of it, But that is a place for you to share your displeasure with the Herbalife sponsorship, because if that's something that sponsorship is re-upping, and they're saying, 60% of these responses had a negative mark on Herbalife. I mean, obviously, if the cash is flowing in,
it doesn't
it's gonna
matter.
be hard for the Galaxy
Doesn't matter.
to throw it away. But if they can find a similar, level donor for that shirt sponsor, maybe it's something that it's worth exploring for them.
We'll see. I mean, the money has to be equal.
Yeah.
It can't be less money. They won't take less money. It'll have to be equal. And I have a feeling Herbalife just keeps ponying up the money every time, and it's hard to sort of turn that down. And I understand that, but at the same time, no. All right. Should the LA Galaxy always have one kit that is white? Yes, no, or indifferent. Eric, should the LA Galaxy always have one kit that is white?
I put yes. I think at this point,
I would say yes as well.
I think at this point, we love the throwbacks, we love the retros, but the white is now, and we'll get to the logo question a little bit later as well. The white is now become synonymous with the LA Galaxy, that clean home look. That's part of what the Galaxy. So I think one kit of the LA Galaxy. Now maybe we can change things around, and we'll talk about that. But I think one of the Galaxy kits should always be white.
I sort of, and again, this is a 2007 change, right? That's a rebrand change where white became the prominent color. Now there have been many white accents, and even if you go back to I think the 1996 maybe Away is like a white kit. There has been white throughout the history of the LA Galaxy outside of some colored ones that are excellent too. So I agree with you. I think there has to be a white one, and for me, that always indicates that white has to be the classic clean. Right. And then the change kit, the second kit, is the one that you get to do things with. Right. That's where you get to experiment with colors and patterns and different things, because you need that clean, and then you can have fun with the other one.
And I think No Name dropped something in the chat that he makes a great point. He says white always has to be an option because you have to be the opposite of Chivas USA across town. So again, with the new neighbors, with their dark identity, I think the Galaxy having a light identity, it's a light side, dark side. So again, I know I've made this joke before. The New York Derby, New York is red, New York is blue. Doesn't quite work with the LA Derby, but again, I like that contrast.
LA is white, LA is black. Yeah, you're right.
You can get in a lot of trouble. You can get canceled when you throw that out there. But the idea of having literally the opposite ends of the color spectrum, I think, as long as we don't like to design it based on the other team, but it does provide a nice contrast.
All right, we're going to go through this one. It says, each MLS club must have a light color jersey. Please rank your preferred light colors. They have a white color, they have a light blue, and they have a light gold, which is interesting because the light blue and the light gold, especially the light blue, is not really a Galaxy color. We have not seen a quote-unquote light blue in almost any design. Maybe in terms of accents, the LA logo actually has just a little bit of the tiny lighter blue, but it's lighter than navy. That's not necessarily like a light blue. This to me feels like it's off-brand, like a light blue would be off-brand.
Yeah, it's a sky blue. This is actually one of the colors that surprised me that it was on there, even though light gold hasn't been a color as well. But light blue, that sky blue, just feels like a different identity than the Galaxy altogether. So for me, I thought that whenever that color came up, it was always last in my rankings.
Okay, so they asked you to rank them 1, 2, and 3, white, light blue, and light gold. So I believe that white would be a top choice for the light color jersey, then light gold, then light blue. That's what I think, right?
That's my power rankings, and I think the chat backs us up on that as well.
Okay, good. You monitor the chat because I have to type in all this stuff while we're going. Each MLS club must have a dark color jersey. Please rank your preferred colors. Dark blue, dark green, dark gold, royal blue, and black. Again, the different blue is not really a Galaxy color, right? The royal blue is not one. Now, we've been close a couple times.
Yeah, I was going to say that we've had some kits that are closer to this shade of blue than the light blue, but not technically just royal blue. So that would be a new contestant in the race here.
Here's the interesting. They gave you a lot more different choices here for the dark color, or for the dark color jersey. It's funny because they're going to ask you what your favorite kit ever was, and one of those questions, one of your answers could be the black and gold kit from the 2012-2013, that third kit, right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely, to me, it's the best one that has ever been put out. But that's not necessary. We're going to get to that question, and I'm going to show you that's a misnomer. Don't answer that question if the way it goes. But anyway, for you, how do you rank the dark colors? Because I think you can change things here.
Yeah, and so I went kind of a little bit rogue here because I really, really want to see the return of the gold kit for the LA Galaxy. I ranked dark gold as my top choice here, just because that's what I personally want to see. Now, if you have light gold home and dark gold away, that really doesn't play. Even white home and dark gold away, it really doesn't play. But if they're just getting feedback, if dark gold is something that pops up where a lot of people want that and they rank that highly, then I think that could be enough of a push. I think we've seen the Columbus Crew where they've had a white jersey and then a yellow shirt or a gold shirt.
Yep.
And there's enough contrast now. I think it used to be, you needed even like when Brazil used to play, you needed to have other team, even though they were yellow, you needed the other team in a darker color because of TVs and contrast and things like that. I think there's enough HD TVs. No one's really watching it in black and white anymore. I think people could tell the difference between white and if you had a bright yellow or a darker gold. So I put dark gold as my number one ranking there. After that, go for it.
No, I would say that, for me, I still go with dark blue just because I associate that, but dark gold would probably be second. And then I would go dark gold or dark green at 3. And so I'm staying there, and then I would go black, and then I would go royal blue, right? And the black I really like, but let's be honest, there's a team that has black, and it's red, and it's right across the way. And that to me is not something that I ever need to worry about again, right?
And that's also a concern with the light gold for the home kit, is because if you go light gold, well, that is kind of in the neighborhood of the neighbors as well. So I had a similar ranking. I had dark gold, then dark blue, and then I went dark green, black, and then royal blue. So that's kind of it's similar rankings. Slight changes there.
What color combination best represents the LA Galaxy? When you think about the LA Galaxy, which color combination do you think is the best one that represents the Galaxy? They're not asking which one you like. They're asking actually which one is more LA Galaxy. Is it black and green? Is it green and gold? Is it dark blue and gold? Is it dark blue and light blue? Is it dark blue and white? For me, the color combination that I think of when I think of the LA Galaxy is dark blue and white, right? That doesn't mean anything. And if you want to try and force some changes here, I think the dark blue and gold is an excellent little play on a lot of the things that the Galaxy. But again, they ask the question in a way that's not really, it's not what you like, Eric. They're asking what represents the LA Galaxy, which is a twist on what they just asked you before.
And that's what makes it tough, because if you look at those first 3 options, actually all 3 of those represent the LA Galaxy pretty well. If you see those color combinations, it makes you think of the LA Galaxy. This is where we become really bad co-hosts, because I don't disagree with you. I think the dark blue and the gold, that's the LA Galaxy. It's their crest. It's the blue, white, and gold. That's what they're referred to. That's part of the nickname. To me, that represents LA Galaxy the most. Now, that being said, green and gold makes me nostalgic for those old LA Galaxy teams, those original Galaxy teams, the championship run, the move to win then Home Depot Center. And so those are the things that make me think of it. And then also with the black and the green, that's that, 96 through 98,
and
black
and now community kit. Now. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So those would be my top 3. I think it's a no-brainer that those are probably going to be most people's top 3.
Yep.
I think we may be, depending on diehards, I think we're not uncommon. I think it'd probably be 1A dark blue, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people
are green
have
and gold.
Green over gold as the number one choice.
All right. It says, what specific imagery do you associate with the quote unquote real Los Angeles? They didn't put it in quotes. I just wanted to, because I thought that was sort of again an interesting way to ask the question. They're trying to get an emotional response out of that particular question. I always think the downtown skyline for me is the most LA thing that you can have. Beaches are great. Santa Monica Pier is one of them, right? That you can think of that. For me, when I think of Los Angeles, I also think of like mountains and beaches, right? Because you have both. I would say palm trees, but palm trees, like, unfortunately, I think Florida stole the palm tree from Southern California, because I'm a palm tree guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a cross palm tree, a little in and out.
We told each other that we were going to do this live, so we didn't share these answers. But when I typed out the survey, I put the downtown LA skyline, I put beaches, and I put palm trees. Those are my 3 things that I wrote down. And so as someone who has recently moved out of state, you miss palm trees when you don't see them. When you see just a lot of flat land and you don't see those type of trees, you look at the background that I have here, that it's represented at Dignity Health Sports Park. There's palm trees there. So I think palm trees, I like that imagery. So I know Florida, it's part of their imagery as well, but just look at this backdrop above, Victoria Block. There's palm trees there. So to me, having that silhouette of a palm tree, I think that is representative of LA.
Patrick, by the way, throws out Joshua trees. I'm a big fan of a Joshua tree. Ugliest tree you ever found, but it's still a Joshua tree. I'm a big fan of them. The Griffith Observatory from Aaron is a good one.
Hollywood sign has popped up a couple times.
Yep. Griffith
Stars.
Yep. A lot of good stuff. Price is Right. That makes me think of LA. Don't ask me why. So that's something. And then each. Let's see. Did I already do this one? I feel like we did. Yeah, we already did that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't. I just I have 17 million of these. And which color combination best? We did that one. Okay, good. So they asked the LA Galaxy kit history. For the question below, you can fill in blah. You can look at this larger image, and I'll blow it up for everybody. But which LA Galaxy jersey is your favorite? This is the one that you will get in trouble with if you answer the correct thing. Because while I think that the best kit that they put out is probably somewhere between that 2011, 2012 third kit, the black and gold. It's actually Punjab blue and gold, if you want to be correct on the wording there.
Yeah. We've had that discussion as well.
Yeah, we have. But that to me was I think the best kit they ever put out, and it still sort of remains as one. Obviously, there's the 2013, 2014 LA third kit that a lot of people, again, that has black in it. And that has the colors of the Los Angeles flag on it as well. So they have the green and the yellow and the red color. And so that's a different departure from things. That's one of the top ones people like. The 1997 Away is a really sharp looking kit with the white. There's some good older ones. The unicorn, as they call it, the 2006 third kit, to me, is possibly one of the best and most underrated kits in LA Galaxy history. This is a gold shirt with a diagonal navy blue sash that cuts across everything. It's a sharp looking kit. So when we look at this, they're asking you what it is. If you are a fan of that 2012, 2013 kit, you may be telling, or the 2011, 2012 kit, you may be telling them that I like the black and gold. That's where this gets tricky. If you're trying to influence an actual change, do you want a black and gold kit again? So that's, again, so just think about those things. So what do you think, Eric? Which one's your favorite?
So that's, I'm with you on the gamesmanship. I actually genuinely like the 2006 home kit, which is the gold with the green stripe. To me, that to me is one of the best kits with the green shorts. That was just a really sharp looking kit. And I think when they modernized it, when you had the 2017, 2018, basically the Zlatan era sash, it was a recreation with the current colors of that kit. And to me, that was one of the best white looking kits because of the way that sash looked with the, a solid blue sash with the gold on the outside. And then the other one was a green sash with black lines on the outside. So to me, the 2006 home kit, I chose that one just because, again, my mental gymnastics that I'm doing, I'm trying to push for that, gold kit. And so that's why I selected that. But it is genuinely one of my favorite kits because it harkens to me. When I think of LA, I think of the Lakers. I think of like the old school LA Kings, that gold and purple. So here, that gold and green, it plays off of that same, feel, and it feels very Southern California, very Los Angeles. So I really I'm trying to push and get us to go back to some type of gold kit. I like that lean and direction. It's just something that hasn't been done recently, so it's sort of fun to take a look at that. We're due, and we're people that love nostalgia. I think the reason why the community kit was such a hit is because let's take us back to 1998. And I think over time we'll see the same thing with the sash. Hey, remember when we had the sash? I wish we had sash back. So I wish we haven't had a gold kit since 2006. So it's time to kind of go back and bring that retro look.
We're gonna have to quickly finish this up as we've been talking through this. How do you feel? How do you feel about the sash design? Sash, no sash, or indifferent?
So I'm a sash guy.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pro sash.
I'm pro sash as well. There we go. That's it. That's the answer, by the way. That's the correct answer. The Yankees have stripes. The LA Galaxy have a sash. Not always. Hasn't always been there, but it is a predominant design feature if you go and look over the years. There's definitely been some gaps. There's been some things that haven't quite fit in there. Now, they go on to say, what types of designs would you like to see on a Galaxy jersey? They have a solid flat color. They have a gradient or the ombre color, right? I don't ever pick those. Those never look good.
I hate gradients, yeah. I think that's what kills the Rams, who just won the Super Bowl. That's what kills their new home uniform. Again, another team, blue and gold, blue and yellow. but the gradient on the numbers, it kills it. So again, stay away from the ombre pattern. I agree with that.
Diagonal stripes. Would you like to see some diagonal stripes that maybe mirror the sash? That seems a little much. That's
no.
Okay. Horizontal stripes.
No.
Horizontal stripes. There are some LA Galaxy kits that definitely have horizontal stripes, and you can see them. There's some that have vertical stripes. Would you be okay with vertical stripes?
I think that's actually in the chat. A lot of people say that those pinstripe style kits, the vertical stripes. Here's my pushback. To me, it's identity. When you think of like vertical stripes, you think AC Milan, Inter Milan. You think of hoops. You think of a team like Celtic. You think of Sporting. So I think when you look at teams that have those identities, it's very distinct. And so I think the LA Galaxy, if they went with vertical stripes or if they went with hoops, it's not part of their identity. So it wouldn't feel right to see them in with that type of jersey.
Feel the berm. That's a bad ombre.
Hey, there it is.
So anyway, I like I think maybe the quasar, the star pattern is fun to do. A checkers pattern. Would you be okay with a checkers pattern? I don't think a checkers pattern is. No. Okay, good. I like I saw your voice.
Croatia and Croatia only. They're the only ones who are allowed to have it. No other team should have checkered patterns.
A diamond pattern? Would you be okay with a diamond pattern? Maybe.
Have you seen a diamond pattern in practice? It's not pretty.
Okay. All right. Just some other things. This one, I honestly was like, this is probably the thing I care about the least. And it's like, please rank the type of collar, round V-neck, polo collar, Henley button. I don't care what you pick on this. I really don't. All right. You don't want to listen. A good kit is going to look good because it all fits together and it works well. And so if the collar is an integral part of that design, like Miami's pink kit that looks like a polo because they didn't do it right, then it's a bad design. It's not the collar's fault. All right.
Yeah. And so I personally like a V-neck. But I know the polo collar is actually very popular.
V-neck,
a lot of people
polo,
like
round. I think the Henley one is the last one, right? You don't want to be that guy.
And I don't think any of the Galaxy kits have ever had a polo collar. So that might be something new that they want to explore. So that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, people just want something different.
Didn't some of the Beckham kits have a thick collar on them?
You're right.
There we go.
You're right.
Okay.
You proved me wrong. Thank you.
More modern or more retro? Eric, more modern or more retro? See, I think this is a bad one to answer. The answer is both. You want a kit that you want a. I think if you go like with a clean white kit, right, that is sort of that new. It's the modern. You keep it sort of crisp and clean and modern, and you go, and then you have your second kit, which is a retro. I think the best of both worlds. Just sell that. This is the most important question. I don't care about that one. Modern, retro. That one's going to be a 50-50 split. What were you going to say? Retro?
I was going to say modern. I prefer modern. With the caveat being, if you look at kits now, they kind of are starting to mirror some of those kits of the late 80s and early 90s with just really loud patterns. So I think what is old becomes new again. So I'm always going to be a fan of modern because modern is going to pull from retro elements anyway. So I'm a modern guy.
Okay. Here's the surprising one. This one was a big surprise. The logo. What logo would you prefer to see on LA Galaxy kits? Do you want the original 1996 logo? This is sort of the Galaxy, right? That is spinning, and you have the little fins on the Galaxy, and then you have the green Galaxy across the yellow spinning Galaxy in the center, right? So that's the one. The current logo that came out in 2007, whenever David Beckham joined the club, which is the one the Galaxy currently have with the Quasar and the LA and the Galaxy across, and it's a shield design instead of maybe a more circular design. And then they threw in a real curveball, something new or different. The good news is that I think that 95% of the people who answer this question are going to pick 1996 or 2007. I don't think there's going to be too many people who are like, I'm sick of both of them. I want something new. So I think that, I think it's a poorly worded question. And I don't think they're going to get a lot of something new or different.
Yeah. And so I'm a fan of the current logo. I think and I mentioned this on Twitter, so if you don't follow me on Twitter, you may have missed this. But basically, the old 1996 logo, as fond as I am of it, and it gives those happy memories, and I like it for a retro perspective, I think the current logo is still very sharp, still holds up. It's iconic at this point, for what it represents. It's globally known. I think it would be a mistake or a misstep to change that logo to something different or to revert back to that old MLS 1.0 1996 logo. So I think they should keep it as is. If there are changes. It should be minimal changes, maybe keeping the same shape, keeping the same elements. I think you got to keep it the same. I don't think you could change it, especially because we've seen recent rebrands in Major League Soccer, and they have not been fantastic. So, if we got a good thing, why bother? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Do you want to know what the correct answer is?
What's the correct answer?
The correct answer is both of them, because if you have a retro kit, I'm all for throwing the retro logo on it. Why not?
On the secondary kit.
Yeah, on the secondary kit, why not? Go ahead and do that, because that's fun, right? I don't have a problem with it. But your identity in world soccer, as much as the since 96 people, and not the logo, but the people who've actually been following the club since 96, would love it to be maybe skewed a little more towards the retro. The identity of the LA Galaxy in world soccer is the current logo, and its current colors too. Be wary of changing an identity just to change something, especially when it has the brand worth at the LA Galaxy. The Galaxy's brand is worth a lot of money. And if you start changing that, you're going to lose some of that identity. And if you play like crap, you're really going to lose some of that identity. And that's what we've been sort of watching happen and go. So let's see. To finish it up, would you prefer the LA Galaxy's found a year to be featured on the KISS? Yes or no? I don't care. I don't know that one's important. Do you like it? Yes or no?
I say yes. Yeah, okay. I like throwing it on there.
Cool.
Yeah, especially now with all the new clubs being introduced, signifying founding club. I like it.
Okay. LA or Los Angeles on the kits? I again, indifferent to me. I really don't.
I like LA.
Sure. Okay. Do you feel like seeing the G? Do you like seeing G as shorthand for Galaxy? Indifferent. Do not care.
No, I like it. I'm a yes on that.
Okay.
I think it's something that's, G's up has kind of been a recent, it's not brand new, but it's something that I think referring to them as the G's, I think that's kind of a newer thing. And I think that's something that I like. I like that move.
The Old English lettering, the Old English G is the particular one that I think is most associated with the Galaxy right now. But that, again, that's more recent. Yes or no on Old English lettering?
I like it.
I
like the
I don't
Old
care.
English G.
I don't care.
And I also just want one shout out, 1-2 Threads as well. I think some of the stuff that they were pushing out with the retro style look, with the Old English, I think that heavily influenced kind of the direction that the Galaxy went as well. So shout out to 1-2 Threads for kind of making that push. In addition to, I know there are a lot of other LA Galaxy creators as well, but that's one of those that kind of led the charge with a lot of those retro style things.
The final one was just some logos, or not some logos, but some symbols, like which symbol sort of represents the. They have the LA, which is in the logo of the logo, right? So it's in the script of the logo, I should say, or the type font of the logo, the LA. It's the LA with a quasar behind it. It's the quasar all by itself. It's the Old English G. It's the LA Quasar Galaxy, and it's Los Angeles in that same same font as the LA is that we've seen on so many things. So if you had to pick one of these, which one do you like? And I'll tell you which one I picked. I like the LA with the Quasar and the Galaxy. To me, that has a lot into it. Which one did you pick?
Wow. I picked the G just because if we're putting our input for what the 2024 kit is going to look like, I think putting a new element with that Old English G, that's what I'd like to see. But for the other ones, I like the LA and the Quasar, or just the Quasar. I think the full script, I'm not a fan of the full script. I like just like a simple icon, like that G, like the Quasar. To me, I'd pick one of those two. But I chose the G.
All right, everybody can go fill out their surveys. You should have gotten an email that allows you to do it. If you have multiple email accounts, you could even fill out more of them if you wanted to. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying you could.
Someone's going to develop a script and choose light blue for everything.
Let's see. By the way, Sugar Daddy Herb just popped into the into the super chat real quick. Gave us a $20.09 super chat. Maybe he was trying to go back to 2009 when the LA Galaxy made it to an MLS Cup but didn't win it. So Herb is here. He says he can't make the live show. Just shout out to the Hammer. Have a good one. Herb Memorial chat room, alive and well. So good. I was worried. I didn't see him last week or on Monday, and I was starting to worry a little bit. So I'm glad he's okay.
And again, Herb, you can check in without donating.
Yeah,
money.
You could just say hi.
I mean, I don't want to feel, I feel like I have to like send you feet pics at this point or something to make this worth your while. But again, happy you're doing well. Glad you're here. Appreciate the shout out. And again, the Herb Memorial lives on.
Yeah. By the way, John puts out an important thing, and I think this is where it becomes dangerous. John says, "Hammer, you won an English G crest because that's what you were saying." Like if you start giving them that,
you're right.
Right.
So is that what that was related to the crest, or was that related to an element?
Do you know? The answer to that?
I thought it was.
Be careful. Be careful with how you answer. That's what I'm saying.
Fair. Fair enough. I'm just saying.
Aaron asked, by the way, do we really think that that they're actually going to take the fans' input on this? I believe that yes.
I think they do. Yeah. You don't put out the survey if you're not going to use some of it.
I will also say this. Do you remember whenever the fans got to design the kit and that ended up being that Los Angeles kit? That one? I will tell you that from my recollection, the Galaxy had to be really careful in choosing some of those and like trying to figure and like narrow those down to ones that they could live with, right? So
that were realistic. Like, yes, I remember one with like a serape pattern, and it's like that's not realistically going to work for a design. So, as much as people may have liked it or may have voted it, it does need to be something that can be realistically, created. And like you said, that they can live with. So are they going to, choose, are they going to make this fully democratic process where whatever gets the most votes is going to win? No, they're not going to do that. But it is going to be a consideration in the room.
Let me read the quote and then we'll move on. This is the quote from the LA Galaxy in the press release. We're excited to include fans and supporters of the LA Galaxy in the design process of our 2024 primary kit, said LA Galaxy Chief Marketing Officer Doug Vosick. Each year's kit is one of the most important season initiatives for both players and fans. Having the voice of our community is critical to ensure our on-field look reflects player, fan, and supporter feedback. The survey is a unique opportunity for everyone to help shape the club we all love. I'm going to say one thing about all this stuff, which is usually stuff that is done by committee is crap. Usually having too many chefs in the kitchen is crap. So whoever's going to have to go through this and weed through the junk that you got back, because guaranteed there's going to be junk that comes out of this, right? There is information that is going to be put forward that does not represent the LA Galaxy whatsoever and does not represent fans. And if you put that, like Eric, you said you'd like the G. Well, all of a sudden everybody's like, man, I really like that G. They're like, well, how much do you like the G? Do you like it so much?
We're going to put it
all over? Yes. Yeah, it's that type of thing. And so somebody has to be smart enough to understand what information they're getting from that. So hopefully the LA Galaxy can do that. Let's move on.
But I will I'm going to address it one last time, because if you have me on the show and we talk kits, it's going to go long. But I will say that, we're only one game into the season, and this is something that the Galaxy fans take pride in wearing these kits. So yes, we spend a lot of time right now talking about kits and that kit input. What does that have to do with the product on the field? Okay, not a lot. But at the end of the day, you're wearing that community kit. You're wearing that City of Dreams kit. You're representing your club. That's important. That's an important thing. So I don't think it's a waste of time to speak it. So just want to throw that out there for the haters who are saying, why are we spending all this time talking about kits? This is a soccer team. Let's get to the soccer. We're getting to the soccer, but the jerseys are important too.
Always fun. Real quick, LA Galaxy 2 roster got announced today. Now, interesting, because I'm going to mention the names, and then you're not going to hear Farai Mutatu on here. And so I will tell you sort of what I know or what I think I know in these things. LA Galaxy roster as of today, March 3rd, Preston Judd, Michael Salazar, midfielders, Alcala, Remy Cabral, Davila. I don't even know who I'll be honest, I have not heard some of these in here. The new signings that came in today, the ones that you're going to want to pay attention to: Dante Campbell, Liam Doyle, Caleb Johnson, Eric Lopez, Michael Salazar, Chandler Vaughn. You had one draft pick in there. Two draft picks in there. You just don't have Farai Mutatu. I was told that Farai would be playing with LA Galaxy 2 this year. All right. That comes from inside the LA Galaxy. That's probably correct. Okay. And so the conversations I had, I sort of, I do not know whether or not he's going to be an LA Galaxy 2 signing or an LA Galaxy signing. Okay. And so that's sort of what I know. So I would expect that if he's not on this list, that the LA Galaxy are probably going to sign him on the first team. And whenever they sign him on the first team, they're going to loan him down to the LA Galaxy or LA Galaxy 2, because they don't have the roster slot. They don't have the international slot to keep him up. And I did have a conversation saying, hey, what would be great if you got him a green card. And there is like-minded thinking going on there as well. And everybody understands that that's what sort of needs to happen in this particular situation, that they think that he's good enough to be able to play. Now, the other thing is, this is the last USL roster you're going to see, right? Because next year it is MLS Next. So this is the last.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is the last.
Glad you're on the pulse there.
Last USL roster to sort of take place. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this and how it's going. I've been hearing rumors that perhaps fans are going to be able to go to LA Galaxy 2 games again, and that seems to be moving in that direction, but I have not heard official word on that yet. So I have my fingers crossed that if you like doing that, which is always fun to go to a couple games at least, and some people really enjoy it. If you can't get enough soccer, go to LA Galaxy 2 games for sure.
I think there are some people who actually enjoy it more just because it's a more intimate environment.
Yep.
So, with the way everything's going, I think we're inching closer to fans being able to attend. Again, it's just the cost that's associated with opening the gates and having concessions and restroom and security. That's just something, for 15 people to go in the stadium, is it worth, doing all that? And so that's just kind of the pros and cons that they're weighing, going back and forth. But going back to the Galaxy 2 roster, my initial thoughts, you look at it and you go, man, that's a very thin roster. But then when you think about it, you think of like your Cameron Donbars, your Marcus Furcrenises, your Daniel Aguirre's, these guys who are going to get loaned down. Same thing with the goalkeepers. You're going to get your backup goalkeepers getting, LA Galaxy 2 minutes. So, it's really that first team, those supplemental roster spots. There's spots, 21 through 29 that are going to help fill that LA Galaxy 2 roster and get a lot of playing time in that league as well.
Let's go to something. I told Eric before we started that I have 65 total graphics for tonight. Now, we went through a whole bunch of those just trying to get through all the kit stuff. So understand, it's kind of like a slideshow in a lot of ways, except that each one of these have to be individual pictures. They have to be sized correctly. Then they have to be put into the show. So there's a lot of hand touching that goes on. So 65 of those were dropped in.
Yeah. And if you make a mistake, you end up with a double hammer in the background.
A double hammer.
It's terrifying.
I can't believe
you
I
don't
did.
want that.
I can't believe it. So anyway, here we're going to talk about this Athletic article. Now, if you have a subscription to The Athletic, you need to go read this article, and you need to read it in full. It's like, if you print it out, it's 29 pages, but it's not that many words. It's a lot of charts.
It's a lot of graphs, yeah.
We have a lot of those charts.
Very Josh Guesman heavy, yeah.
I do not
big on the charts.
I do not want to go through all of these. So we're going to go through some of them, just because there's some interesting little takeaways here and there. And I did get rid of like 7 of them just in going through, and I still have like 15 little charts. But what happened was, Sam Stejskal and Paul Tenorio put together an anonymous team survey, and they went to the chief soccer officers. What's a chief soccer officer, you asked? I'm glad you asked. That's somebody who's basically in charge of the technical decisions of a team. I tend to believe that in this particular case, if the LA Galaxy were one of the teams that submitted an answer, there were 21 CSOs, chief soccer officers, that responded to this survey. There are 28 teams, which means that there are 7 teams that didn't respond and didn't want to answer these questions. So I don't know if the LA Galaxy were one or not. Can't tell you. But if they were, then it's more than likely, by definition of job title alone, that Jovan Karofsky filled this out, when I would actually think that Greg Vanny would probably be the one who fills this out instead. But that's I don't even know if Jovan filled it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so can't tell you and don't know.
We don't know if anyone filled it out from the LA Galaxy. Which
That's right.
That also probably wouldn't surprise me either, with kind of some of the, the Galaxy are past this, that it's not worth giving their input. That wouldn't surprise me as well.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's get into a little bit of this. You are going to find real quickly that the LA Galaxy are mentioned on some of these. Most of the ones they're mentioned on are not a good reason to be mentioned.
Yeah.
And then most of the time they are completely left out and forgotten from these charts. That is also not a good thing. It's like almost being indifferent. We don't hate you. We don't like you. We know you're there. You're around.
To me, it's worse. I don't even know you exist. Yeah, that's worse.
That's worse
than being hated. Yeah,
that's worse. That's whenever like the hot girl in school, she's like, you like her, and you're like, oh hey, I like you, and she's like, wait, I'm sorry, what's your name again? It's not even that she doesn't like you. She doesn't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
good times.
Wow,
not that that's ever happened to us.
Middle school just came flying back for me all of a sudden. There's some emotional damage there for sure. I've been watching TikTok too much. What else is new?
I like what Vieira mentioned in the chat. So the Cosmo probably filled it out.
Yeah, Cosmo probably did. So they asked these executives, the CSOs, 21 of them, except that a lot of times 1 or 2 declined to answer, which is always funny as well. It's like, who's not answering this? Like, what is this a charged question? Are you worried about which team will win MLS Cup? I would like you to know that of all the answers that are on there, that New York City and Seattle are the 2 top ones on there. Atlanta United is in that discussion with 3 executives. So New York City had 5, Seattle had 5. So that's 10 of the 21. So half have basically New York and Seattle. And then you have Atlanta United with 3, LAFC with 2, Orlando with 2, Columbus with 1, New England with 1, Sporting Kansas City with 1. I can't say that I disagree with most of those.
Yeah, there's a rationale. Orlando getting 2 surprises me a little bit. But again, with what Pereira has done and turned it around. But Pereira doesn't have the track record for getting it done in the playoffs. So that one is surprising. But I think you can make an argument for every team on the list. And again, Galaxy, nowhere to be seen. Not a great look, which also makes you think, if they were voting, I think if Chris Klein or Greg Vanny or Jovan Karofsky were voting, I think they'd want to vote for themselves. So the fact that there's no vote there maybe is telling that the Galaxy didn't have a representative.
I feel like whenever they asked who will win the Supporter Shield, that the Galaxy somehow got their hands on 2 surveys, and were able to fill them out. Seattle leads this with 6 votes out of the 21 people. New York City FC 3 with who will win the Supporter Shield. Orlando with 3. The LA Galaxy had 2 votes for winning a Supporter Shield. So one is somebody who works in the LA Galaxy office. We don't know that for sure. So where did the other one come from? Who likes the LA Galaxy enough to give them that much credit
to win the Shield? This
Shield
season?
Yes.
Is it this season? Yeah. Yeah, that's surprising. I don't know.
Did they mean like sometime in the next 20 years the Galaxy will win an MLS Supporter Shield?
Yeah, who will eventually win one? Yeah, that is surprising that they popped up on here.
We
were complaining that the Galaxy aren't getting love, and then now we're complaining that they got love. But the supporter, the MLS Cup, you can say, okay, the team is built to go on a run, but I don't think the team is built to win a Supporter Shield.
I am a very optimistic person and say that the LA Galaxy will overperform a lot of things this season that people don't quite understand because they haven't been watching sort of what they've been doing in the preseason and sort of the chemistry that's been building, the emotional chemistry that's been building as well. Just all the things that are sort of moving in that direction. And I can't put them in that Shield consideration. That's not something I'm not willing to do. Which team does the most with least? So basically, who gets the most out of their roster and doesn't spend any money? And by no surprise here, Colorado Rapids get that. Philadelphia Union, Nashville, and Real Salt Lake. 1 vote for RSL. Philadelphia Union was 7, and Colorado Rapids was 10. Those are the 2 correct answers in this one. Yeah. And Nashville, by the way, not too far behind, but Nashville does spend a little more money than probably both of those teams. Correct. And so it all makes sense.
I think it does make sense. I think the Rapids, we've mentioned this when we've done the game previews for the Rapids, they just have a bunch of dudes, like just guys who have been around the league and who are professionals, nothing flashy. And then Philadelphia's on there. They have a great, youth program. Their youth program, those homegrowns, they just keep pumping those guys out. So I think that's where they're on the list because they're not spending money. They're developing it on their own. So I think all of these are valid. RSL one, surprised me a little bit, but again, it's just 1 vote.
LA Galaxy fans need to be thankful that FC Cincinnati exists right now. Okay, I'm just saying.
This one shocked me. I'm surprised we weren't at the top of this list.
The amount of fail that has come out of 3 consecutive wooden spoon runs for FC Cincinnati has only made people forget that the LA Galaxy have been as bad by spending as much money as they have. Which team does the least with most? Cincinnati got 7 votes. The LA Galaxy got 5 votes. Miami got 3 votes. Atlanta is in there as well. They spend a ton of money. If you're not winning MLS Cups, then you are failing. Yeah. The LA Galaxy are always going to be in this list, quite honestly. Atlanta's in there, Toronto is in there, Chicago is in there, and LAFC rounds out that one. Not surprising, but FC Cincinnati cushions the bounce off the bottom for the LA Galaxy. And Pat Noonan and those guys over there and Dom Kinnear are gonna straighten that team out, and the Galaxy might have to worry a little bit unless they start producing.
Yeah, and I think it's all relative because it is. Yeah, I would say the Galaxy because of what they spent on their players, and I would agree that they're doing the least with the most. But when you look relative, they just missed the playoffs, or they still win some games, they still make some noise. FC Cincinnati, as much as they try to splash, they just still end up at the bottom. So that makes sense that they're even though I'm surprised that the Galaxy's not at the top of that list, it makes sense that they're on there. That's correct.
Which ownership group does the most to elevate the sporting side of their club? Atlanta gets 11 because Atlanta spends a ton of money, and they are always trying to improve things. They spend more money than anybody. LAFC came in second with 2. So 11 votes for Atlanta, 2 for LAFC, 2 for Toronto. The Galaxy aren't on this list whenever you look at it. And that's an interesting sort of take just to sit and ponder for a second, that the LA Galaxy's ownership group, which is Phil Anschutz and AEG, are not doing enough to help the LA Galaxy win, which is hysterical on some points because they spend a ton of money, but it's not wrong. It's not wrong, in my opinion.
Correct. I think it's, and I'm going to push back on you because what do you always say? What does LA need? LA needs stars. And so what is the question? That's the sporting side. So I think the players that the LA Galaxy get are checking multiple boxes. It's not strictly on the field. It's on the field plus, putting butts in seats. So I think when you take that into consideration, that's fair. It's not as much for the sporting side. It's more on the business side that the Galaxy makes a lot of their moves as well. So I think that's why they're not landing on that list.
All right. The last one that we're going to do, and then we got to move on because it's already an hour into the show, and we haven't really talked about soccer.
Do they have a game this weekend?
Yeah, there's a game. Welcome to a 90-minute show. It was 90 minutes on Monday, too. This is what happens at the beginning of the year. There's too much stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff.
Which ownership group holds the sporting side of their club back the most? Now, you would think the Galaxy might be on this, but they're not on this list. San Jose, duh. San Jose is a dumpster fire. Almeida wants to get out of there so bad. He is literally like, they said, they were talking about Houston and who did Houston just sign? Hector Herrera? Is that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Houston just signed it, and it's a huge deal for Houston. I mean, that's a huge signing.
Yeah.
The whole deal. And so Almeida was asked about it, and basically he said, he goes, "Oh man, it's great to see a club that spends money and tries to support their team." And it's like, oh, okay. So San Jose is on this, Inter Miami, Colorado, DC United, FC Dallas, Houston, Portland, FC Cincinnati, Vancouver, the whole deal. And then maybe is there one more? What was the best move single signing trade? Listen, there's so many of these great charts. You need to look at all of them. We'll move on, but Seattle signing Albert Rusnak, I would agree, was one of the best moves this offseason, and that's the one that got up there. Are there?
And it hurts. Were we there?
No.
Were we really there, or were we not?
Yeah.
Is that a faux pas?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Fake Twitter. Do we get a Twitter fake? That's why that one stings to see it on there. But I agree with the move.
There's a whole bunch of other things, like talking about who in the front office is the easiest to deal with, who in the front office is the most difficult to deal with, like the whole deal. And so there's some things. One of the coaching ones. Do I have the coaching one? I'm sure it's here somewhere, but I would probably have to go searching for the coaches. Do I have it? Nope, I don't think I have it off top. But Greg Vanney came in. There it is. Who is the top head coach in Major League? Okay. Yeah, Bruce Arena got 8.
Respect to Bruce.
Peter Vermees, obviously. Greg Vanney, in at number 3, along with Jim Curtin as well. So that's not. Those aren't her. That's not wrong. That's not necessarily wrong.
Surprising to me though, Seattle topped pretty much every list that they're going to be good performers, and then Schmetzer only got 1 vote, so that's kind of surprising.
And he voted for himself. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
That same respect as Bruce, I guess. Right?
Not yet. Which is like almost that's one of those things you look at and say that's almost disrespectful to him, which I enjoy as well. Let's see. Let's get to it a little bit as we start to get you ready for it. Something that did not happen and that I am just shocked and surprised and amazed by. As of right now, with disciplinary committee already ruling on everything, well, let's put it this way. They already put out an email. It doesn't mean that they haven't ruled on everything, but I even asked Greg Vanney about this on Wednesday whenever I talked to him. But the Araujo incident in the 32nd minute, this was Julian Araujo. This was basically his ability or his what was it? His clash with Chanot inside the box in the 32nd minute.
It was a mandible claw for those of you who are fans of 90s wrestling.
Yeah,
he was trying to get in there.
Yeah, he reached around he's running away. Chanot's running away from him. He just reached around his head and grabbed him. To me, he
grabbed him right in the Chanots.
That's what I heard. This is the wrong decision by the disciplinary committee. I imagine that the LA Galaxy are happy and Julian Araujo should be just thrilled that he got away with this. It's not the right call. It's absolutely not the right call. And this will come back to haunt somebody in some way. It always does. There's going to be some incident that is not that serious that shouldn't have gone punished that now is going to be punished because this was borderline. And when you look at it from the perspective of what was Julian Araujo thinking, there's some concern there as an LA Galaxy fan as you're watching this game of whether or not Araujo can keep himself in the games because he was. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say, he was this close to getting suspended. I have no idea because clearly they didn't do it. He traveled with the team. He's expected to be there. Greg Vanney told me. He said that MLS has given them no indication that they were even considering it or investigating it or anything like that, and that he would be there. So Julian Araujo available for Charlotte come Saturday.
It's surprising, but we'll take it. We'll take a lucky bounce wherever we can.
The flip side of that, Williams and the injuries. So Derrick Williams, to our knowledge, is one of the few guys who's like on the injured list that we're really paying attention to. Eventually, Saldana will be one of those guys that we'll start to pay attention to whenever he's getting closer to coming back. But Williams did travel, or Vanney said he was going to travel with them whenever the team left for Charlotte, and that he could possibly be available for selection come Saturday as well. The thing is that the LA Galaxy have 3 of their next 4 matches on turf, Eric. And that is a considerable thing to pay attention to. And in our press conference, there was nothing magical that was said or anything like that. Vanney noted it as well One of the questions that certainly I think is going to be asked this next week and possibly even after the game is, do you take any of that into account now that you have 3 in the next 4 games? Does that mean Douglas Costa is going to sit for a game? Is Chicha going to sit for a game? Are you going to be careful with minutes knowing that you're basically playing on concrete for the next, for 3 out of the next 4 games?
Chicharito kind of alluded to it in the press conference as well. He's like, even though we're going to be playing on turf. And so, like, I think they recognize that it's going to be an issue. And so we're going to find out. And so that's kind of the beauty of this early in the season. We're going to see, and Kevin mentioned this on the show, that, Vanny said he's going to treat Costa like a Ferrari. And I think we haven't even talked about the game, because I know I haven't been on since.
Right.
But Costa looked, I agree with you. I think his body's a little bit slow. He's not quite match fit yet. I know he was training with Gremio and he's been training in the offseason, but he didn't seem to be, 100% Douglas Costa. I think he still has room to grow. He looked dynamic. He looked like he could make moves. He looks like he's going to be a game changer. It could be a potential game changer for the Galaxy, but he's not there yet. And so I think maybe you don't risk throwing him out there on turf and hurting himself or putting himself at risk. Maybe you just give him, that time at the end once you're up 2-0 on Charlotte, and just give him a little run out there to break a sweat, build a little bit of chemistry. I think that's the situation. I think you don't want to mess it up this early in the season.
All right. And so I think he plays. I think guys, to be honest with you, I don't think Vanny's going to change anything. Too early in the season to really change anything, and you had enough time to rest for the most part. This is not even though it's a short rest week, because Charlotte got 1 extra day of rest, and the Galaxy played on Sunday and now play on Saturday and have to travel all the way across the country. It's not considered a short rest week. This is basically a normal week, and it's at the front loaded at the beginning of the season. It's a regular week as far as I'm concerned. So that's in there as well. So that's what we have for those. One of the rumors that popped up, obviously we're looking at the Sergio Ramos one, and whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. Again, some of these are so high profile, they're not going to clue me in. All right.
That's the bizarre thing. It's like, it's where are they going to have the space? Where's the roster space and the allocation money? Just to me, that's a guy like Sergio Ramos, and I know Sergio Roberto, who you're going to talk about.
Sergio Roberto.
To me, these are high profile big names. Like, wow, how are we going to be able to land these guys? It's great that we're being mentioned in the same sentence, but is this agent speak just to kind of help them out to get better contracts elsewhere, or are the Galaxy truly in conversations to get these guys? At
30 years old, this one is more intriguing to me than I think than the Ramos one, right? This is the Sergio Roberto, because one, it's a serious position of need. I think that the LA Galaxy still have a lack of depth in the middle of the field. You have Raveloson, you have Mark Delgado, and then you could use somebody like Sergio Roberto, 30 years old, so not 35 years old, 30 years old, right? A guy who's really only played, I think so far this season, he's played in like 4 games. He started 4 games and played in 9 games. And so when you look at that, you're sort of like, okay, that's not a lot. He's not getting a lot of time. So 400 minutes so far in La Liga, and then there were some Champions League games in there as well. But again, you're talking about a guy with some serious experience, some serious ability, and maybe a little less injured, I heard, than Ramos.
Yeah, and to that point, this is not getting tons of games at Barcelona. It's not getting tons of games in the Bulgarian Super Division. There's a difference here in kind of the being on the bench for Barcelona. You should be so lucky for that to be one of your roles. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so that rumor is out there again. Give me some time to work on these. These ones are harder to nail down whenever they're larger names, whenever it's coming from someone like Barcelona. So we'll see if they continue to stay. Staying power with a rumor is one way that you can always tell whether a rumor is serious or not. If it comes out and then it's quiet forever.
Yeah.
Most of the time that indicates that it's not true. Now, sometimes they're like, it's already done, so there's nothing to talk about, right? It's one of those.
But this also happened with Douglas Costa. That rumor came out and we're like, this is completely out of nowhere. Where did this come from? It has nothing to do with it. And you're right. Had it just gone away, then we said, okay, it's not real. So again, if this continues to be a topic of conversation, then where there's smoke, there's fire.
Let's go quickly to some of the charts that I brought up just for fun. The LA Galaxy had a perfect February. If you think about it, really
undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated February. And I think possibly team of the month. If you're really thinking about team of the month, I think the LA Galaxy should probably give them the team of the month.
I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Chicharito's goal has also been the goal of the season. I think right now,
Yeah.
it's just absolutely just the banger, the goal of the year. So
John,
right now, it's in the conversation for goal of the year.
Jonathan Bond had a second minute or a third minute save in the game against New York City. That was the only shot on goal. That was named save of the month for that as well. So there you go. You're getting those out of the way. Something to keep an eye on for the LA Galaxy. Whenever we look at the history of this club and sort of what they've been able to do over a long period of time, and sort of the different ways that we always try to keep track of them. When we're looking at it, this is the 13th time the Galaxy have won their opening first game, right? So that's cool. That's interesting. However, if they win against Charlotte, they will be just the 6th time in LA Galaxy history that they opened the season with 2 wins. Last year happened to be the 5th time that they did it. But there is
and how did last season end?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would like to point
this.
Too
much stock into it. Yeah.
Oh, there's absolutely almost no stock in it. In fact, only 2002, when the LA Galaxy won an MLS Cup in 2002, did they win their first 2 games. 2005, they lost one of their first 2 games. 2011, there was a draw and a win in there. 2012 was a win. 2014 was 1 point through the first 2 games. So it means absolutely nothing. Having said that, it's something that you can at least strive for, I guess, if you want to.
I'm going to drop one more turd in the punch bowl here, and that is that NYCFC and Charlotte both Eastern Conference teams. So at the end of the day, you're going to need to beat your Western Conference foes to create separation. So these games have just a marginal bit of less value because they're against Eastern Conference opponents and not Western Conference opponents. So another reason why, again, you want 3 points, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make or break your season.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. All right, let's get you ready for Charlotte now. We've been waiting long enough. It's been a long time to sort of get there, but this is the game coming up on Saturday. It is Saturday, March 5th at Bank of America Stadium, which is a turf field. The Galaxy play 3 of their next 4 games on turf. That's Charlotte, Seattle, and Portland, or all those games. That means those are all away to Seattle, away to Portland. So that's interesting. It's a 4:30 p.m. Pacific time TV start. It's on Fox and Fox Deportes. Kickoff itself is just 5 minutes before 5, so 4:55 p.m. start, not like it was last week where I think it was only 3 minutes or 4 minutes after the TV start.
I was going to say this is a 25-minute pre-show, so again, don't crack your first beer at 4:25 and be ready to go. 4:30, ease your way in. Let Taylor Twellman kind of yell at you for a little bit.
No, this is a Fox show, so you're going to get Alexi and
let
Rob Stone,
Holden yell at you for a little bit, and then work your way in. My apologies.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what it is. Again, Bank of America Stadium here is currently sold tickets for over 73,500 people. They're expecting it's probably going to be close to 75,000. The tickets that they have sold at 73.5 is more than the largest MLS game ever, which was the LA Galaxy whenever they played against Atlanta, in Atlanta. And that was when Zlatan, I think, was supposed to be there, but he wasn't because it was turf.
Was that All-Star game or turf? Or,
no,
it all kind of blends together.
Yeah, I know. It does. So that's not what's going to happen. So about 75,000 people expected for this game. Going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. The weather, perfect, really, when you think about it. Perfect. Soccer weather. It's cloudy, about 64, 63 degrees at kickoff around that 7:30, 7:55 time, whenever it finally gets going on the East Coast. And again, 4:30, nice and early for us over here. Don't have to stay up late writing game recaps and all that sort of fun stuff. Charlotte played last Saturday. They were up in DC playing against DC United. It was a 3-0 win for DC United. So that means that Charlotte has yet to score their first goal. It would be something the LA Galaxy should hopefully keep them from doing. Yes.
I was going to say, they technically have scored. They put it in the back of the net. It was just disallowed. So their first goal that counts. They're looking to do that in front of their home crowd.
Yes, you were absolutely correct. I was going to point that out, but you are correct. They have not officially scored their first goal. Okay. So that's what it is. If you watch the goals that were scored in this game by DC United, oh boy, were there not any like really solid goals that were scored?
Yeah.
The one of them was scored on a penalty kick that was a difficult handball. I understand why it was called a handball, but it was a difficult handball. One of them was scored off a deflection from a shot outside the box, and it got deflected off a back, and it had the goalkeeper going the wrong way, and the ball just sort of blew over into the goal, and it was fun. Yeah. And then the third goal was a punch out by the goalkeeper who punched it right into an advancing DC United player, and DC scored off that. It was like a rebound. There was ridiculous goals.
Expansion team activities. That's just what you expect when you're new to the league. Just whatever can go wrong does go wrong, and so it seems like that seemed to be Charlotte's MO in their first game. So a lot of FC Cincinnati energy coming from Charlotte in that first game.
Yeah, a 4-5-1 for them as well, which I found to be suffocating in the middle of the field. Watching the highlights and the extended highlights and things, there were a lot of bodies. Anytime you can put 9 guys basically into the center of the field or into the defensive third, it is a tough slog in there.
Yeah, and that also tells you, and we've had talked a little bit of it, the manager in the preseason kind of alluding that he showing his hand that he knows his team probably isn't going to walk away with a supporter shield. So lining up like this is like, hey, let's just throw everyone in front of the goal and just hope the other team doesn't score. And so that's kind of what you're seeing with 5 in the back and, with the lone striker in there. So it seems like that is probably going to be their strategy. Is the Galaxy will probably be able to have a lot of possession and have a lot of shots on target or have a lot of shots and goal chances, and just going to be a matter if they could finish them. And then, if the Galaxy defense can, if they get any type of counterattack, that's where the Galaxy, I think, is the weakest. On the counterattack, their defense gets really shaky because the outside backs like to push forward so much. So that's where the Galaxy are the weakest. But if this team is going to sit back, then the Galaxy is going to have a lot of opportunities, and it's just going to come down to finishing.
They have a smart manager. I was listening to some of the stuff he was talking about and just how he was going about it. Yeah,
this is a smart setup. If you don't have the horses, then this is the type of way you set up your team.
By the way, eSuper in our chat room goes, wow, I know none of these guys. We're showing the lineup for I went over the roster and I know none of these guys. So how about that? Really, listen, Christian Fuchs is he's a dangerous player. And he got his head on 2 or 3 set pieces that look dangerous. If I'm going to say that Charlotte is dangerous, I think they're dangerous in 2 ways. You talked about the counterattack, and I think that they do a really good job of getting guys forward into it and throwing bodies forward and springing from deeper in the field whenever you look at a back 5 and knowing that the outside backs are going to crash into that, which eventually gets you 6 attackers into the attack, and they really do throw bodies forward in that. So that's one of the parts that I think is dangerous for them. The other thing that I think is dangerous for them is set pieces. I think that they have some big bodies, and you can see it with 5 guys on a back line. There's some big guys back there that can get their head on the ball, that can set picks, that can do different things to make themselves look good. I mean, I didn't hate how they played, and Greg Vanney talked about it this week, and he says that's not a 3-0 game, and he goes, and you have to be impressed by some of the stuff they were able to do. So it's going to be an intriguing matchup only because there's 75,000 people in there, only because it's an expansion team's first home game in front of their fans.
There's just that's that mystique, that extra piece in there that's why, like you said, if you're a betting person, you stay away from this game. Also could be a little bit of a trap game because you're like, we meet the champions at home, so we're going away to the expansion side. This is an easy 3 points. Just be careful, not so fast there. And going back to the players, I know our good friend Madam Serrano in the chat also pointed out Alan Franco, Titi Ortiz, they have the Argentine striker there, who spent some time in Liga MX. So again, they do have, it's not nobodies. It's
right.
Just, people that may not be the MLS fan may not be familiar with this person. Again, Fuchs also as well from Leicester City fame. He was just smart player, a solid player for such a long time. So you're going to get a lot of solid defensive play from him.
Yeah, it certainly it's going to be fun. I don't know how you manage this, and everybody pretends like there's an answer, and there's not an answer to this. There's no answer to how So Eric, if you know that Charlotte's going to come out with their hair on fire, 75,000 people. So did the Galaxy match the energy, or do they survive? And if you survive, right, if you choose not to match the energy, if you choose to be like, let's take it calm and do this, you stand the chance of getting run over whenever Charlotte sends, 43 people forward to score a goal. And listen, that's great. You can catch them on the counterattack and beat them up, but you're also going to be under a ton of pressure early if you're not going to match the energy. So do you risk matching the energy in order to sort of be like, oh, you guys want to run at us? Okay, fine, we're going to run at you. And then everybody's going to be tired by like the 35th minute. And then the game will hopefully calm down. What is the correct answer here? Because I'll tell you right now, 75,000 people screaming is fuel to the fire. And you could say, oh, well, the Galaxy can use that as well. But home field advantage is there for a reason. They have it in spades in this one. I'm tilting the scales towards Charlotte. And even though the Galaxy are technically, and we're going to get to 538 here in a second, are technically favorites in this game, I wouldn't touch this game with like a 20-foot pole whenever it comes to betting. Not me.
Yeah, to me, I'd go the opposite direction. I feel like the Galaxy and Vanny should preach patience. And again, I'm going to cough here, so give me a quick.
Yeah. No, Vanny was saying, managing the energy correctly. Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, preaching patience, I think, is the key. Let Charlotte, again, the Galaxy, this isn't your first rodeo. Let Charlotte come at you, and then wait for the counterattacking opportunities.
Well, if we're really talking about a Galaxy team that has been, and I've said it, that their strength really is more counterattacking, then perhaps Charlotte throwing the kitchen sink at them is a good way to open things up and sort of play that. If you want to see the ugliest color combinations you're ever going to see for a game, I have them. Very easy to find out, very easy to get to. Charlotte will be wearing their white sleeves with a light blue vest area with their white shorts and their quote-unquote solar blue socks. That's great. The goalkeepers are going to be wearing pink. The referees are wearing orange and navy blue with orange socks. So there's another color combination that's going to clash with everything. And then the LA Galaxy, because Charlotte are wearing technically their whites.
Yeah, this is their light change trip. Yeah.
This is their light one. The Galaxy will have to wear their tech green. So you're going to see tech green with black shorts and green socks going against this. This is why you don't have a 2-color kit. Remember, we always talk about why don't the Galaxy play with white shorts with their or blue shorts with their whites? This is why. Whenever you do that, you screw everything up. So the Galaxy will be in their change kit, their community kit for this. It is going to be, the atmosphere is going to be great. As somebody said on Twitter, by the way, the atmosphere is going to be great. The referees are going to look fine. Charlotte's going to look fine. The Galaxy are going to look fine. And then you're going to put them all together, and it's going to look like one of the ugliest things you've ever seen. So visually on the field, this is going to be ugly. Prepare yourselves for this.
That's kind of the funny part about this is the Charlotte kit on its own. I think that's a sharp, great-looking kit. Ties in with kind of that Panthers identity. Ties in with the stadium. And then the Galaxy kit, community kit on its own, fantastic. Put them together, that's a bad look.
Yeah.
So I think that it doesn't look great when they go against each other. I remember last season you had Portland in their light green, and then you had Portland in their dark green, and then Seattle in their light green, and that was just a mess of a game to watch. And so I don't think this will be that bad, but I think this is not these jerseys don't complement each other well when they go up against each other. So again, we snuck more jersey talk into this podcast.
I'm glad we got it. Let's get to 538 and what they say about this particular. If you're done coughing, no, you're not. Okay, I got you. Don't worry.
I am dying over here.
Okay, I know you are.
A coughing fit all day, and then I get live on air, and that's when my cough just starts going sick. Yeah, good times.
Let's all just
don't do allergies, folks.
Let's all just appreciate Hammer knowing how to use the mute button. If this was the Panda over here, we'd all be hearing him cough, and we'd be like having to stop the show. So that's good. As we see it right now, LA Galaxy 38% favorites to beat Charlotte. Charlotte with a 33% chance of winning the game. So very close, very tight there. A 28% chance to draw that game. There's some heavy favorites in this particular one. Austin, by the way, against Inter Miami is 50% chance to win. Does anybody think that Austin is like a good team? They played FC Cincinnati. Where are we getting this?
I'll push back. I think at the end of last season, we started to see a little bit of a turnaround. So wouldn't be crazy to see them start to turn it on a little bit. They're not running away top of the West, but I give them a little bit of credit against Miami.
I'm looking at the top 15 right now, according to 538, and they have their SPI ranking, which sort of tells you how good a team is, right? The LA Galaxy sit in 11th, by the way, out of all the people who don't want to say like the LA Galaxy, aren't going to make the playoffs and stuff like this. 538 has them as the 11th best team right now in Major League Soccer.
They did bump them up, and I think that second half against NYC, they were, 538 is heavy on XG. And so I think because they had so many goal scoring chances at the end there, it really bumped up their rankings on 538.
Okay, so they're up there. LAFC currently with the top spot at 52.3, the Galaxy at 41.5, just so you can see the spread. Colorado at 39.6. Colorado's going to fall apart this year. It's happening. I'm just waiting for the wheels to fall off and that they've once again out Coloradoed themselves by getting rid of all their good players and then not replacing them. And poor Robin Fraser is going to sit there and have to try to recreate the wheel again. And so by the end of the year, Colorado will be better, but right now they're not going to be very good. And I think everybody needs to take advantage of that in the Western Conference as they can. So that's sort of where we sit. So what do we think of the Charlotte game? Is there any way to predict this? Give me your scores. Let's go.
I'm still feeling the LA Galaxy. I think Charlotte, they're still too green. I think that there's that chemistry isn't there. You still have the Galaxy. The Galaxy, this is now their second year with the core base players who are familiar with each other. They know each other well. I think they're going to be patient, and I think they're going to go out to an early lead and kind of silence that crowd, take the crowd out of it. Then they'll get that insurance goal. But I think you will see Charlotte get their first goal and make it 2-1, and then that crowd's going to get back into it, and then we're going to see what the LA Galaxy defense is made of if they can kind of withhold Charlotte at the very end, and I think they'll hold them off. I say the Galaxy 2-1. 2-1 victory.
Galaxy 2-1. I don't see the Galaxy winning this game. So I think the most optimistic I can. It's too much. It's too much. All right.
You're asking too much.
You're asking too much. I like this team. I think they're going to do fine. The next game that they play, by the way, whenever they have to go to Seattle, like Seattle is like a 50% favorite to win that game. I give the Galaxy a better chance of beating Seattle in Seattle than I give the LA Galaxy a chance of beating Charlotte right now. And I know who Charlotte is. I've seen them. I don't think they're
bold. That is bold.
I don't think they're as good. I don't think they were as good as the DC United game showed, and they lost 3-0. But like that's also there was some, like you said, there was just some weird stuff that happened in that game. But I also don't think they're as bad as their coach maybe made everybody think either. And so I am fully on this. I say it's a 2-2 draw. And it'll be a fun game. It's going to be a spectacle. You're going to want to watch.
I agree with that. I think it is going to be. You're going to see action, and I think we saw this if you watch the. Again, not to compare the teams. I'm not going to try to fool myself here, but when you saw Liverpool and Chelsea go at it for the Carabao Cup, that was a 0-0 draw, but it was constant back and forth, teams going at it. I think you could probably see something similar like that. Here, just because of the atmosphere, I think both of these teams are going to be amped up, and you're going to see them going at each other.
Going to be a fun time. Again, this game will kick off at, TV starts at 4:30 p.m. and kick off at 4:55 p.m. Fox and Fox Deportes are your TV options there, so go check it out. Let's see. Anything else, Eric? Can we be done? We can be done. It's late.
Yeah, well, I do have a bone to pick with you. At the end of the show, I've been meaning to bring this up. Of course, I'm bringing it up now that my voice is going out. You say, we've been listening and watching to Corner of the Galaxy. Shouldn't it be watching and listening to? Or are you saying listening and watching as well? So it's always
as well. I'm listening and
okay.
watching. You've been listening and watching to Corner of the Galaxy. That's as well, right? There's both.
Perfect.
You've been listening. You've been watching to.
Okay,
yes.
Got it. All right,
okay.
just double checking. So I just needed to throw that out there.
But please make sure you make me focus on it before I just have to say it in order for me to screw it up. Let's see if
I'm coughing through half the show, I need to try to throw a wrench in your plans as well. I'm not going down by myself with this ship. I'm bringing everyone down with me. This is
2 shows in a row where I've screwed something up. So let's be very clear about that. Like I am not in game shape. I think I'm just still in a little preseason form for whatever. Yeah. By the way, preseason was great. I was fine. And then all of a sudden the season started. And I don't know how to press buttons all of a sudden. So
yeah, you got the yips. You got the yips like Kevin Cabral of 2021. You got to shake it off and get in game shape, get in season shape. You got a little Douglas Costa in you to open the season here.
Less wet noodle for me. That's what we need. Less wet noodle, more dry noodle, brittle and braille, easily broken. But
fun
still,
times.
do you ever eat like the crunchy? Like if you have a crunchy
not
spaghetti.
My move. I know a lot of people who did that, and a lot of kids in high school did that as a snack. With the top ramen, and you put the seasoning in there. Not my thing. Okay. I'd rather cook it. I like a warm bowl of ramen. Nothing better than that, or a cup of noodles. But yeah, not raw. That's not my move.
All right. I'm saying everyone's, I like to suck on, like whenever we're making macaroni and cheese, I take one of the macaroni, I just suck on it while I'm making it. Yeah. It tastes great.
You're a maniac. You're a maniac.
Salty. It's good. All right. Eric, tell people they're going to find you. Let's go.
All right. As always, you can find me on Twitter at HammerEV. You can also find me on Instagram at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy PROFOUL. And then check out the supporters groups, Angel City Brigade, Galaxy Outlaws, LA Riot Squad. A lot of watch parties this weekend. Find your people. Go do a watch party this weekend if you're not heading out to Charlotte. And if you are heading out to Charlotte, be safe.
Yeah, it looks like Charlotte people are going to be more than welcoming to you as well. Lots of tweets coming out. If you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at Guesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerthegalaxy.com. All of our shows, all of our podcasts, all that fun stuff, articles, recaps, all the fun things that you need to have, including the media calls. Full media calls are there, cornerthegalaxy.com. All right, for Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira, I'm Josh Pato Guesman. You've been listening, you've been watching too. Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening, and we ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.